Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a very special story. For the first time, Daniel felt convinced that he was going to die. Daniel Pearl came on a visit to Pakistan in the year 2002. Marian's phone rang. Daniel Pearl is in our custody, and we will only release him when the Pakistani Muslims imprisoned in Guantanamo Bay jail are freed. They released a picture to the American government in which Daniel Pearl was seen handcuffed. Pressure was being exerted on him to reveal his connections with Israel, his family's relation to Israel, and his dealings with Israel. The police eventually found a buried body in pieces belonging to Daniel Pearl. It was Abdul Sattar Edhai who collected this body, which was cut into 10 pieces. Who killed Daniel Pearl? In 1994, he was arrested in India for the kidnapping of 3 British citizens. When Omar Sheikh received information that he might be captured or caught, and that agencies in America were against him, he went to Brigadier Ijaz Shah and surrendered. Sheikh Omar also had ties with Mullah Omar. And July 15, 2002 was the day of the verdict in the Daniel Pearl murder case. I am Naeem Mustafa, a humble journalist. I will share with you aspects and events from my 40-year professional life that have remained behind the scenes until now. These stories will not involve any exaggeration, fabrication, pressure, or anything that distorts the facts. So immediately subscribe to our platform, this channel, and become a regular viewer so that you too can become aware of those aspects that have not yet come to light. Naeem Sahib, how did the murder of the American journalist Daniel Pearl take place in Pakistan? Before we look into the incident that happened to Daniel Pearl and his tragic murder, it is better to first understand who Daniel Pearl was and under what circumstances he came to Pakistan. After the 9/11 attacks in America, Pakistan found itself in a state of war. The Afghanistan issue, American intervention in Afghanistan, and Pak-India tensions, this incident must be viewed in the global context. It is an event where Daniel Pearl was led to his death, and only when the links of these events are connected will the viewers understand how the matter reached this point and why the situation arose. Daniel Pearl was a 38-year-old young man, an American journalist, and the South Asia bureau chief for the famous, globally renowned American newspaper The Wall Street Journal. He was the head and in charge of South Asia. Daniel Pearl came on a visit to Pakistan in the year 2002, accompanied by his wife, Marian Pearl. In Karachi, they stayed as guests at the house of the Pakistan bureau chief, Madam Isra. They stayed at her residence in a very famous area of Karachi. He was working on a story that was basically said to be related to the American 9/11 attacks, the Shoe Bomber. Shoe Bomber refers to the documentary he was investigating, a task he was assigned to prepare by coming to Pakistan. He had come here to meet a very prominent religious figure and scholar, Pir Mubarak Ali Shah Jilani. He wanted to meet Pir Mubarak Ali Shah Jilani and had taken an appointment to meet him. Now, January 23, 2002 was the last day according to the visa issued to him. When he got the time, he was supposed to leave Pakistan for Bombay on the 23rd. Since there was no direct flight from Karachi or Lahore to Bombay, no direct flight from Pakistan went to Bombay, he had to go to Bombay via Dubai. Daniel booked a flight, Karachi to Dubai and Dubai to Bombay. On January 23, he told his host, Isra, that he needed to go to the Pir's house. She called the Sheraton Hotel to arrange a taxi. Isra's call went to the Sheraton, but the receptionist there checked and said, "Ma'am, there is no taxi nearby. You should send one of your servants and he can get a taxi from the taxi stand." So their house helper Shabir was told. He got his bicycle out and went to the nearby taxi stand, returning with a taxi shortly after. Daniel Pearl came out ready, took his camera, and sat in the back seat of the taxi. They watched him leave, and Isra also came out to see him off, along with his wife, Marian Pearl. An interesting thing about Marian is that she was his professional partner. Often, the two of them shot together in Pakistan, Bombay, and many other countries around the world. They made many documentaries jointly. They had an agreement between themselves that if either of them went anywhere alone, they would call the other partner every 3 hours according to a prearranged schedule. They also agreed that wherever they went, they would not turn off their phones, because foreign nationals coming here face significant security issues. Now, what happened was that Daniel, being an American journalist after 9/11, was subject to restrictions regarding the movement of American citizens, and they were also very cautious. Before coming to Pakistan, Daniel had informed the American consulate in Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad, wherever he was supposed to go. He had informed them and given them his touring schedule and timings. A proper schedule was provided. Even a day before, when he was going to meet the Pir Jilani Sahib, he had called the American consulate and informed the security officer there. This security officer, Randall Bennett, was a well-known man who knew all the matters and was in charge of the safety and security of American citizens. Daniel had informed him too. When he left from here, Marion called after 3 hours according to the plan. The phone was found switched off. She got worried and thought that he had never done this in his routine before. Then after 15 minutes and another 15 minutes, initially after 3 hours, and then she kept calling every 15 minutes. In a state of panic, the phone remained switched off. When she mentioned to Isra that she felt Daniel was in some trouble because he wasn't answering the phone and it was switched off, and he had never done that before, as even in an emergency he would inform her before turning it off, Isra said, "If there is such a problem and he is in trouble, we should inform the police. I will call the Karachi police." They told her to wait until 2 a.m. as he often came late, so it was possible the meeting ran late and the phone died. So they set a deadline of 2 a.m., Isra, the host, and Marion. They decided to wait until 2 a.m. They waited until 2 a.m., but there was no sign. During this time, the sound of a car entering the street was heard. Both of them rushed outside, but they saw the car drive past. They got worried again, realizing it wasn't him, and came back inside. Then an idea struck them. Instead of the police, they should first call the American consulate. They immediately changed their mind and, sitting at home, called the American consulate. When they called the American consulate, a staff member there, Corporal Bailey, answered the phone. Bailey's voice sounded sleepy, as if he had just been asleep. In that sleepy tone, he asked, "How can I help you?" First, Isra spoke and explained the situation, then she handed the phone to Marion. Marion explained the whole story to him. After listening to the entire story, Bailey said, "Daniel and we Americans are used to drinking, so he might have had a drink. It's late at night, you should wait for him until morning, and in the morning you should call this same number at the consulate." He told her to speak to Randall Bennett. She said, "Okay, fine." When the sun rose in the morning, she called again and told Bennett, "This is the matter and this is how it happened," explaining the whole story. When she told the whole story, he said, "We are calling, but his phone is continuously found switched off." After this phone call, they were still not satisfied with the American consulate, so they called the office of the Wall Street Journal. They called the foreign affairs editor, John Bussey, and Daniel's boss. He was Daniel's boss and editor, to inform them that Daniel had lost contact and his phone was switched off. John Bussey asked, "What should we do now?" 24 hours had passed. What action should be taken? During this conversation, Marion's phone suddenly rang. Rushing over, Isra picked it up. Marion was talking to the Wall Street Journal on another landline number. When her phone rang, Isra thought that it must be a call from Pearl or someone connected to Pearl. If he was in trouble, that person must have called. She picked up the phone and a person spoke in Urdu, saying he wanted to speak to Daniel, Pearl's wife. She immediately understood, her sixth sense working, that he had likely been kidnapped and this person was a culprit, the kidnapper. It was his call. She told him, "She is speaking on the other phone, please hold, I will connect you." But this Marion does not understand Urdu at all. How will you talk to her in Urdu? He held the phone and on the other side, as if talking to someone else, he said, "She doesn't know Urdu, why are you making me talk to her?" The phone hung up. When the phone hung up, they told their editor, John Bussey, that a call had come and this was what was said. "We told him she doesn't understand Urdu, so he hung up." About 15 to 20 minutes later, a call came in English. When Marion answered the phone, the caller's voice from the other side was in English. He was an English-speaking person. He said, "Daniel Pearl is in our custody, and we will release him only when you fulfill our 3 or 4 demands." He gave a sheet of demands telephonically to Marion. The first thing he said was that the Pakistani Muslims imprisoned in Guantanamo Bay jail must be released from captivity. Marion said, "You should talk about these matters with the Pakistani government or the American government." Then he said, "Okay, we will also send an email to the American government, and we will repeat these demands in the email." Now, what were those demands? The demands were that the Pakistani Muslim prisoners in Guantanamo Bay jail must be released.